Welcome, everybody. It's episode 245. We're talking about books. A whole lot of books all at once. I'll stop. I'm sorry about the thumbnail, but I'm not really sorry. So
I'm surprised you didn't say something like a big hot load of books coming your way,
yeah,
something
right
like
in your
that.
face
That's more your
tonight.
style.
Yes. Well, listen. I'm entering my twilight years. I got to get my rocks off as soon as possible at this point. Sorry.
That's
All right,
valid.
we gotta lock in. We're talking about books, and Chris didn't want to do one specific book. He was like, I have a bunch of favorites. So we're just gonna tour our way through Chris's favorite books, and maybe you'll find a favorite book. And if you like one book more than another or where to find it, maybe this will be an inspiration for reading because we're pro reading here. What's up, Brandon? Thanks for coming to channel member. Big dog. Can we start? Is it chopped unk or auntie territory to read books?
I mean, I don't think so.
Okay, thank God.
I
I
call me
keep going
crazy.
Go ahead.
I'm kind of like a hoarder when it comes to reptile books because if I see one that I like just out in the wild at like a book sale or a store and I'm like, oh, the info is like halfway decent and it's not crazy expensive, I'll buy it even if it's kind of old because I found some really interesting little like nuggets of information in old books that are still useful, even though probably by today's standards, 90% of the info in the book is super out of date.
I like looking at old books because they're always like, we had to get ant eggs to feed our turtle. Like the husbandry variations are very interesting in its own sort of meta, like herpetoculture way too.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got this old book by Philippe de Vaugelet on prehensile-tailed skinks that goes at length about how, like, in nature, they live in tree hollows and they go crazy for beetle larvae, but that's like the only feeder insect they will eat. And he was like, in particular, they're drawn to superworms. And
Okay.
I tried that with my own, and mine will like run across a cage at top speed to get a superworm. And like, most people nowadays are like, oh, they're obligate herbivores, but like they really like larvae in particular.
We're off topic, but do you think like, I don't know, Madagascar eyes or something, they use their little fingies to pull grubs out of rotting wood?
Like
You ever
monkey
seen
tail
that?
skinks?
Yeah, have you ever seen that behavior?
No, no.
Okay,
They
that would
just
be
more or
cool
less
though.
like they see them and they're like, oh, gotta eat that. But
Right.
they make no attempt to grab it.
With their hands.
Yeah,
Like
no.
tree monitors do.
Yeah,
The
no, they don't
thingy.
do anything like that. I've never seen them use their hands for anything other than climbing.
I do love tree monitors with raccoon hands though. It's pretty cool. What's up,
Who does?
AJ? Aurora likes books. Thank you. And what's
X.
up? 319. All right, let's get into it. I'm okay, so it's not chopped to read books officially.
Hell no. More
Okay.
people should read books. Let's be real. If more people read books, is it too early for a hot take?
No, we're at the 3 minute mark, so it's good to go, I think.
Hell yeah. If more people read books, less people would preach the bullshit on like all the care guide sites.
Right. Don't you think it just confuses people to read a Facebook group where it's like
Honestly, yeah. Like I
so many
learned most
opinions,
of my
you know?
oh yeah. Like so much better to buy like a 60-page literally a 60-page book on whatever fucking species, like those old ass TFH books that you could get at like pet stores. There's one that's literally on like it's like how to keep butterfly agamas and uromastics.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so freaking niche. But like it probably taught someone how to keep a butterfly agama.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I said it weird that first time, but
It's
whatever.
fine. It's fine. Yeah, I think sometimes it helps to get one person's synthesized thoughts
Mm-hmm.
and absorb their take. You don't even have to agree with it, but you like get their full honest take that they thought about how to communicate over a period of months while writing it. And then you can sit with it and then verse someone else's synthesized thoughts. Facebook groups are, I'm going to type something mean.
It's like rapid fire, like this person's thought and that person and this person,
yes,
and like going back over here.
Confusing to people.
100%.
319 has ADHD and he needs a movie, please, and he'll watch the book. We need audiobooks for you, brother. That's what we need.
Yeah, we need to hire. God, who is it? The NPR guys always say their buddy Nipper, the British guy. They need to get him to narrate like all these books and make audiobooks.
I believe it. Let's do it. Yeah, I think I don't know. We'll get there one day, because I think podcasts sort of bridge the gap, like these very long form conversations, but I still think they're imperfect, because sometimes I think writing down your thoughts and then synthesizing it and going back and reading it and being like, someone could misinterpret the statement. So let me add clarifying bits. That's the power of writing. You can edit, you can zhuzh it up. And I think when we're speaking extemporaneously like this, I say stuff I don't really mean in quite that way, but I'm just, at a loss for words or whatever at that moment. So instead, books are better, I think. Better.
Yep.
Old World Rat Snakes.
Okay, give me 1 second. Sorry. I actually went through my shelf and dug out all the books. So this book is probably one of the hardest ones to get on here. Should I just like go into all the info?
Yes. What is this book about? I could guess based on the title, but you tell them.
This book is on Old World Rat Snake. There are 2 books written by Klaus Dieter Schultz. For anyone who doesn't know who that is, Klaus is kind of like the father of a lot of the Asiatic rat snakes. He did a lot of work with like the original wild caught bamboo rat snakes. He was over in Germany, I believe. There are 2 books he wrote. The first one is called like A Monograph of the Snakes of the Family Elaphey. That book is like the most expensive book I want to get. It's on average like $300 to $600. This one, I found it on Abe Books, and I actually imported it from Switzerland, and it was like $120. So if you're not like a hardcore Asian rat snake person, this is probably not a book you need to invest in. But it's honestly pretty great, because it's got a lot of like really cool like in situ photographs with like captions of where each species is found. But there's also like various research articles on all the different species. So it covers everything from, your typical Elaphey, so your Korean, your Russian rats. It talks about Japanese rats. It's got a whole section on different beauty snakes. So it's a collection of research papers, and it talks about things like, natural history and ecology of the Aesculapian snake. Notes on rat snakes from India, the rat snakes of Bhutan, wild observations of cave racers, which are beauty snakes. So it's really got an excellent breakdown, and it goes into kind of species by species accounts of all the different Asiatic and a lot of the European rat snakes as well. But as you go to like the back of the book, there's a lot of really good info with like data charts. I don't know how well it shows, but like there's charts going over like temperature, humidity. Oh shit! Hold up. Sorry. But there's charts going over, like husbandry and breeding data, species by species, with things like, so like there's a table for Colognathus and Goniosoma, and there's one for the Elaphey, and then there's one for, Orthriophis, Oreocryptophis, Semenus euprepiophis, Radenophis, like animals that aren't even in the US hobby, but it goes over like temperatures, humidity, if they hibernate, if there's a gestation, the average amount of eggs, how many clutches they will have in a year, incubation temp, size of hatchlings. Like, it goes incredibly in depth. I believe this one even goes so far as to include like probing information species by species. I believe
Like
that is
number of
Mhm.
scales deep per species for male
Yeah.
and female.
Yep.
Okay.
And yep. And it's got some really, I've read multiple times there's a section on like field notes for the beauty snakes. I believe it's specifically is the Ridleyi, which is the Orthriophis ridleyi, the Malaysians. It goes specifically into like field research of those actually in a cave system hunting, and how they're often found in groups, and they seem to be somewhat communal, and how they feed, and how some of them do actually leave the caves to go like briefly hunt out in like the real world. So it's a really interesting book. It's very hard to find though. Klaus has he passed away quite a few years ago, as I recall, and the book I think only ever got one printing. So this and the other book that he wrote are kind of like they're kind of like the gems at the top of the Asian rat snake group of books. If that's something that's your bread and butter, you're really into Asian snakes and European snakes, this is a book you absolutely need to have.
Is each subsection written by someone else and he just edited, curated the sets? Okay.
Yeah, so the entire thing is a series of research papers, and then I'm looking at it. They call it like the checklist and the systematic index with all the charts. That is all from Klaus, because he was one of the people who basically there are several species like the montane trinket snake and a couple others that without him they would not be in captivity at all. So yeah.
Where did he primarily work? At India or everywhere?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. I know he was based out of Germany, but I think he did a lot of field herping out in Asia, but I could be wrong. There's honestly like not a ton you can find on Klaus himself, other than just like what I have heard on like from people on other podcasts talking about him.
All right. Is he deceased? Did you say that?
Yes. Yeah, I think Klaus has been, I think he passed away 5 to 10 years ago.
Okay. Well, this is all you get, people. Just a book.
Yeah.
How much do you think
one of those
people
guys
should pay for the book?
Honestly, like I said, I paid $120 for it. I mean, it's a large, it's a 430 some odd page book. I mean, this, you could hurt someone with this. I would say it's worth every penny, frankly. I've seen copies go for over $200. This is one of those books, if you really sit and wait, and you keep an eye on like Abe Books or some of the Facebook groups, it usually pops up around 150 and 190. Like I got lucky getting mine at the price I got it for, but if you're patient and you're really looking for one and being diligent, you can absolutely get a copy for 120.
Okay. That's not too bad then. I couldn't find a
No.
price comp currently in the US anywhere.
No, they pop up very sporadically, and this book and the other book by Klaus were both printed in Europe. So they do tend to be a little bit more common over in the UK and some of the other groups.
So. What's up, Quirky? All right. What about this book?
Okay. Sorry. You're going to have to bear with me while I shuffle books around.
Okay. And this one I found it at 90 out of print.
Yep.
So this will be like a used book price.
Yep. So, and kind of like you said, mine is even, you can see the stamp. Mine is a former library copy. Snakes of the United States and Canada. So there's two in here in this episode that are both have the exact same title. So this is by Carl and Evelyn Ernst. This is kind of like, out of the two, in my opinion, if you have to pick one, this is the one to go for. So it gives these really phenomenal breakdowns of every species of snake found in the US and Canada, as the title says. Sorry, I'm trying to find a good. So it breaks down species by species with, blind snakes, boas, colubrids, vipers, elapids, et cetera, et cetera. I'm trying to find a good page to show you. But so it's generally got a pretty, like, the breakdown on corn snake, for example, starts like right here. And it goes over, it gives you good field notes, it gives you maps. And then it kind of goes through here. But it goes into, species that are known for preying on those animals, talking about the wild population size, diet and feeding habits. It goes into range maps, reproduction, growth. It talks about the fossil record. It goes into just generalized distribution, as well as it does reference the locality variations as well.
Does it have plates?
Like prints of each species? Or what do you mean by plates?
Plates, like pictures of all of them together side by side, so you can compare within a.
It does not. It kind of gives you. So that's the only thing I don't personally like about this one, is like if the species account of one species ends in the middle of a page, the next one starts right there. So sometimes it can get a little muddy at a quick reference. And it, like we just said, it does not have any like side-by-side comparison of similar species, which is kind of a bummer. But like all in all, it does go very deep into each species. And I want to say it's a very scientific book in a lot of ways, where like if you were a novice to herpetoculture, this would probably be a little bit of a like, hey, like what's the snake lingo in here? Because it does use a little bit more herpetological type lingo just to go over variation and, physical appearance. It goes into, ventral scale counts and things like that. So it's a little bit more to chew on. But if you're a little bit more into everything, it's a phenomenal book.
Didn't they do a turtle book?
I believe so. It sounds familiar.
I'm pretty sure I have it. Yes, the father, Carl, father, husband. This book.
Oh, yep.
Same guy. Okay, I know exactly the format of the book then. It's like, it is individual species, like thick breakdowns, but it's like more intense. Like I cited this in my master's thesis.
Yes, it is a very, like you said, it's very dense, and it's very, I'm trying to find a good word. There's a lot shoved into what seemingly would be a little, but this is a nearly 700-page book. When they say it covers every species, it does cover every species. There is some lumping of things when you get to things like, Pantherophis. You do get a lot of the, like the Obsoleta complex does tend to be pretty lumped together as well.
Well, what year was it published? Like like taxonomically, you know what I mean?
Oh. This was
I could probably look it up.
2003.
Oh, that's pretty girly.
Yeah, so I mean,
Oh.
so it's not the most. A, quite a few of these books are not like crazy up to date, but they still have really good relevant info that is worth having.
Who do you think this book is for if it's a little more intense? Because it's not really a field guide. It's more of
So
a.
on one hand, it's not a field guide, but I feel like it has field guide properties. But I feel like this is more of the book for the person who really likes their North American colubrids and really wants to, even if it's not the most, I don't know, I feel like it gives a pretty good deep dive into every species in a very condensed manner. I feel like this is for people who really want to know about literally every snake in North America that probably isn't featured in other books.
Yeah.
Like,
These are hard to read though, because like
it's a
you would be
honker.
like inspired and you go read the entire rat snake section or something. But then you close it and be like, you know?
Yeah. A lot of these books I have had to like read in snippets. There's 2 or 3 of them on here that I've sat down and just really plowed through them. A lot of these are kind of books that I would say they're the set them on a shelf, tell them they're pretty, and when you need the info, you go back and read them because
Or they're toilet books when you're trapped.
yeah, like they're really yeah, they're all full of really good info, but at the same time, if you had to sit there and read 700 pages of this, you would probably bore your brains out.
Yeah, the turtle book, I like turtles, but I just needed a way to cite things that are dumb. Like turtles have a carapace, like a common
Yeah.
thing that everyone knows is true, but you still need a citation for it. So like it does that well because it holds the place of just like a general synopsis of each species. But in terms of like, I don't think I've ever read through the whole turtle book ever in my whole life. I'll like page through it for fun, but
I have a dream that one day I will read every single reptile book I have like cover to cover, but there's over 100 of them at this point, and I just can't.
This is more of a browsy book when you're feeling curious about something, I think.
Yeah. A lot of these, especially like some of the other ones as we go like later on, definitely could be more of a sit down and read them type book and are written a little bit more that way, but there are definitely a couple of these that are not written in that format. And this is one of them for sure.
What about this one?
This is the cheaper snakes of the United States and Canada. So the price at which you have this at,
that was on Amazon, I think, which is more expensive.
Yeah, so if you look hard enough, you can find this book for like 35, 40 bucks. I'm pretty sure I paid like 12 for my copy.
Okay.
So this book was actually pretty cheap until like last year. When on an episode of CCR, Dr. Loafman was talking about this book. And so I went and found a brand new copy on Amazon for $12, which I then shared with a bunch of other CCR listeners. And then it very quickly sold out from that source and kind of became very expensive because all the cheap copies got sold. But so this one is kind of like a little bit, this is like the pre-evolved form of the last book I just went over.
So it's this Pichu, one, if you will.
This is the Pichu to that one's Pikachu.
Okay.
So this one's only like 500 pages. But so this is actually a pretty fascinating book. It's written very much the same way as the sorry, I'm trying to find a good point to make. So it's very much written the same way as the other one, where it goes and, you know, like this is corn snake. So it goes and kind of talks about the different, you know, the range. This one does bring in sister species as well. So like this is the corn snake section, but it's got thorn scrub rats and Emery's rats on here in the corn snake section, because this one is a little bit older than the other one. I believe this one is from the 1990s.
It has a
But
very
the interest,
90s
what's that?
gradient here. The 90s gradient.
Well, so the thing that's very interesting about this is every single species in here has a how to keep it in captivity section, which the other book does not have. So, and obviously, bear with me, people, it's the 1990s. But so it gives every species a difficulty to keep in captivity between 1 and 5, like 1 being easy,
Whoa,
5
that's
being difficult.
pretty novel.
Yeah, and so it talks about things they like to eat. And so, like for corn snakes, it says food, mice, but that says some young may prefer lizards or tree frogs. And so it talks about some of the weird shit, the cage size. If you're really a stickler for enclosure size, you're going to cringe because it recommends like a 30-gallon tank for a corn snake. But like for the 1990s, that was standard. And then it talks about, substrate and, do you need ventral heat? Does a species need UV light? Which for a book that's a little bit dated, they actually did write species that they felt needed a UV light versus species that they felt didn't.
That's interesting.
It goes through like,
it goes through that nobody keeps, like worm snakes.
Okay. This one even mentions, where's it at? Like smooth earth snake is in here.
That is crazy. Who's the smooth earth snake cartel king right now? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's really interesting because it even like going off of this, like the smooth earth snake, it says, difficulty index, it gives it a 3. And that goes into cypress or substrate, and it says cypress mulch or mulch on one side with soil on the other. Ventral heat beneficial, and then it goes into the authors of this book actually kept every single species of North American snake in order to write this book.
Smooth earth snakes eat in captivity.
According to this, earthworms, slugs, and soft-bodied invertebrates.
Okay. A lot of the ones I caught would like puke up salamanders. I'm like, where are you going to get a salamander? Okay. I mean, if you get worms, I guess it's fine. That's funny. That is more interesting than... It's interesting in a different way. Like what they think you would do if you were to get, I don't know, a lyre snake or something.
Well, and they even talk about, like, again, smooth earth snake, just because that's what I'm on. They even talk about their experiences keeping the species and like their attempts at breeding them. And things like this one, they're talking about handling them while gravid causes spontaneous abortions.
What? That's crazy.
Like, this is a fascinating book because it really does go into, it even goes, into like rattlesnakes. It goes into captive care of rattlesnakes.
Yep.
And
is there have you read it enough that you were like, oh, maybe I should read this species that's never bred because they sing its praises in a crazy way?
I haven't gone through it to that depth. I basically bought this book to read the sections on the species I already kept.
Okay. I would be like, damn, they were all hard up for smooth green snakes or something. And they think that they're this super hero of pet keeping or something. Or I don't know. Like, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, this was honestly, I don't know. This book in particular, I find is one of those lesser spoken gems. It's definitely gotten a little bit more of a following thanks to Dr. Loafman. It's honestly a phenomenal book, though. It goes into a lot of field data. It goes into like the establishing and like for species that aren't bred in captivity at all. It does go into, how they kept them alive and things they found worked. They go over things that didn't work. And it's really interesting because for some of these, they strongly advise, for lighting, no, they don't need UVB, but you should not use undertank heating. You should use an incandescent bulb. So it's very interesting. They really did take their time going through here and really going species by species with how to keep the animals as successful.
Is this a new book? Or is it like volumes 1 and 2 smushed together?
I believe that back in the day, so this is a 2003 edition, but I have seen that there is an older edition that is a part 1, part 2.
Right. It's called Keeping Them. Snakes of the United
Yeah.
States and Canada. But they had another one that was like more, I don't know, species focused. I think it seems like they like took the information from both other editions, smushed them together in a new edition. Is
Yes.
that correct sounding?
As I believe, yes. The
Okay.
split apart version is the like first edition, but then it was combined to make this one.
And this is the only one you have. You don't have the old.
That version is very hard to find.
There's
so
one on eBay right now, $49.95.
Oh, there you go.
If you want to. You don't have to, though. It looks cool and retro, though.
Yeah, this one was, if you know, like Krieger Publishing, this is an old Krieger book, which this book threw me down the rabbit hole of hunting down like as many of the Krieger books as I can, because a lot of them are very well written despite their age.
Are they from like the 80s, 90s?
This is like an 80s, 90s, early 2000s publishing company. They had a lot of like very niche books. Like there's one that's like 150 pages on like reproductive husbandry of boas and boas only.
Mm-hmm.
There's some really good ones on monitor lizards. There's some really, really good ones on like reptile medicine and like veterinary care, which like I work in vet med, so that interests me. And like those ones were written by veterinarians. So there's some really good ones out there. And usually if you hunt around, they're not crazy expensive.
Do you find it's easier to find these books on the internet, or are there used
100%.
booksellers at shows near you?
I have been lucky and have found some of the books in my collection at shows. There's a really good one, and it's called Python Regius. It was printed in Germany. I think around 2009, 2010 era. And it's a big book just on ball python genetics. And it's usually an $80 to $200 book. And I found it at a local show for like $20. So like if you're lucky, you can find that. Sometimes at Tinley, there's a few sellers that will have books from their own libraries on the table. But it just kind of depends. A lot of these, though, you do have better luck finding online. Like I said, Abe Books is a really good place to look. Some of these I've gotten off thrift books. If it's still in print or is like relatively easy to get, like my Snakes of the US and Canada, I got off Amazon from like a used bookseller. So if you just kind of keep your eyes on all the different sites, you can find them pretty easily.
Do you think there's a market for somebody to be because I know we have different new book vendors at shows around here, but there's not. I can't think of. I can think of somebody who's a new and used book.
There's Mike Crick.
Does he vend down here? Ever?
He vends basically through Facebook. It's Mike Crick Books, and he also does eBay. He's like a dealer for everything. You can message him and be like, hey, I'm looking for this book. And he'll be like, oh, I have 5 in stock. And like, there's been like some really old books that I've been like, hey, I'm looking for this. Or like, he'll do a sale where it's like any 5 books from this list for $100, pick any 5.
Okay. Well, good.
And he's a straight shooter. I like working with him. I bought a lot from him.
Do you know what his handle is on eBay? Is it Mike Crick?
I think it's
or something.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's Mike Crick, and that's Krick.
All right. Well, that's cool. This one seems fun, especially if you're like, I don't know, those people who are like, I really want my ringneck snakes to breed in captivity or something. Maybe check it out.
Yep. This is exactly that kind of book.
Yeah, because honestly, ringneck snakes are cool. It would be nice if someone could lock that in. All right. The reproductive
Blue Bible.
Husbandry of pythons and boas.
Another one that I did not pay anywhere near that price tag for.
Yes. Go ahead.
So I have the newer print version, which is the black version.
Oh.
So if you want to breed boas or pythons, this is absolutely a must-read book.
Uh-oh,
This
must
book,
read. But so what price can you find it for if it's like a good deal and it's around? That's not 212.
so I paid 85 for this one.
All right, that's not that bad.
No, this book, if you look, it sells regularly for $75 to $100. However, the copies that are in that price range, they pop up and usually within a week they sell.
Okay.
I'm trying to find when this book was printed because it's definitely a little bit. Okay, so this book was printed in 1990 by I'm pretty sure this was written or it was published by the Institute for Herpetological Research. So this is by Ross and Marzek. So to give you an idea, even in 1990, this book was $75.
All right. Well, that's fine. Inflation, baby. Wilson says someone named John Minster does both old and new books, but only attends Daytona. Do you know of a John?
That name rings a bell, but I have not seen him like online. I think I've heard people talk about him, but that's about the extent of it.
What's up, Carissa? All right, what were you saying? Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. So this book is honestly is really fucking cool because so it does a deep dive into like early on. Sorry, I'm pulling it up to show you. Oh God, it's got a lot of just empty pages at the beginning. So it goes into early on, like just general snake husbandry. It does a section talking about that. It talks about reproductive husbandry and so it breaks down things like cooling periods, light periods, weather, fluorescent light, cannibalism, using multiple males per female, how follicles grow, egg anatomy, sperm storage, things like that. It also touches base on some of the reproductive issues like egg binding, sex determination, different things like that. But the most important thing I think of this book for anyone who reads it is the reproductive data section, which is the majority of the book because it's about a 260-page book and roughly 130 pages of it are all just husbandry and breeding data. So it goes species by species. And so I'm trying to pull up a good one. So it breaks it down by continent, like Australian pythons, Asian pythons, African. And so it'll show you, like this is the page for Woma and blackhead pythons. And so the chart is broken down month by month through the year. And it shows you a period for like when they should pair, when they would be breeding, and then you can see it kind of trails off. So it gives you a month by month breakdown of when you should be pairing them or like when they are generally like when you would see them mating. And then it kind of, you know, you see it grow and then shrink down when eggs would be laid following that. And then when the eggs would be expected to hatch if they follow this chart.
That's pretty sweet.
It's really cool. And it does touch base on like basic husbandry for every species as well. But it's really interesting because some of the species in here at the time were not really being produced reliably. So there's things like scrub pythons. There's a rough like guide to it, but at the time they were not being regularly produced. So some of them there's not a ton of info on.
Did they personally do it, or are they just smushing other people's data together into?
I believe it was a combo. I believe that they were assembling other people's data, but they also did some of their own research.
All right, that's cool.
Yeah, it even touches base on some of the really rare species like Owenpelly pythons that don't really exist anywhere outside of Australia. And it even does touch base on some of their husbandry and care, but again, there's a massive blank section for that one. But it does go into all, the chondros, and it even touches base on some of the, the trachy boas, the eyelash boas. It talks about bromeliad boas, and it actually gives like really good breeding info on a lot of them.
When was it published? What did you tell me? 93? Am I making that up?
1990.
Oh, really early.
So this book is going on 30 years old at this point.
Well, do you think there's anything, not on purpose, but that we know more now that you were like, well, it's interesting, but like, I don't remember us collectively knowing, I don't know, like the gestation time of a boa until later than that, but maybe I'm wrong.
So this book has, from everything that I've seen people say about this, which led to me getting it, was people saying that basically this book was far ahead of its time. Mm-hmm. This book is still very much relevant to this day in a lot of ways. You can definitely tell that there's definitely some dated info in here, but by and large, it still holds a lot of really great data that is a really phenomenal stepping stone for someone who wants to get further into breeding boas and pythons in particular, but it does give a lot of really, really good info for that.
Do you think it's under infoed on the boa department?
I don't think so. It just predominantly has more pythons in here, but it does feature a lot of boas too. It talks about, like I just flipped to the sand boas. It goes into, there's what is it? Indian sand boas, rough scaled, Tartar sand boas. Oh God, I forget which one that is. Javelin sand boas. It does break them down, but it does also kind of lump, like all the sand boa charts are on one page and there's less of a specific breakdown.
Okay. That seems cool. So you think a good price, if someone were to see it tomorrow on eBay, would be $85?
I would say
$90.
I would say up to, frankly, if your book was in really good condition, this is one of those books that the better condition it is, obviously that plays a bigger role in the price of this book.
Can you send it to PSA to get it graded and slabbed?
I mean, that kind of defeats the purpose of the book, but
yes, it does. Sorry.
I'll give it a PSA gem mint.
Okay. Beckett Black Label.
Yep.
Could you imagine? I mean, they grade video games. I'm sure they grade books. Somebody does.
This one though, it's one of those books because there is a hardback and a paperback copy. Usually the paperback is a little bit cheaper. Mm-hmm. I did get a hardback because I will always go for a hardback over a paper if I can. And like I said, the different editions do tend to be a little bit different in price, but all the info is the same between the editions. So it's more or less, what do you want? I would say at most 150. I think 200 is a little pricey because I see it pop up all the time for 150 and less. It just sells super quickly.
When old folks pass away and their wife is like, what's all this crap? And just sends it to Goodwill. Do you ever see books?
Mm-hmm. I have bought quite a few books from like Goodwill or the more complete Chondro, like the more recent edition of the Chondro book.
You just found it at Goodwill?
I found it. Have you ever heard of Pango Books? It's like a secondhand book marketplace where it's kind of like eBay, but it's books only. People list books. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
People like list the books that they've bought and read and don't want anymore for like a couple bucks. So I got the more complete Chondro for $9.
Oh, that's pretty good. Can you spell it? PANGO?
Yep, pangobooks.com. You have to. Yep, and it's not the most user-friendly site because if you want to see like snake books, you just have to type in like snake or snakes, and then you have to like filter through
search optimization.
Yep. So you have to kind of wade through shit, but I've got quite a few like older field guide books off here that are like hardcover, like, you know, really decent books that to buy off Amazon or eBay, we're looking at, you know, 30, 40 bucks. I've gotten them for 4 or 5 off of here.
Can you search by ISBN on here or no?
I've never tried, but it might be something you
Possible.
do.
All right, that's cool. I mean, another resource. I knew
Mhm.
I bought stuff off Abe Books 100 years ago, but I've never heard of that in my life. Wilson says now it's 120 for a hardback on Amazon. I don't know. At first I was doing only Amazon pricing, then I was like,
Yeah.
I don't. Daddy Bezos doesn't count. So I went back and I was like trying to find it like new at EcoBooks and then I just got confused. And so there's just different prices. So,
Yeah.
but 120 seems better than 212.
Yeah, I would say at 200 that's definitely like way overpriced. But the like I would say 120 is definitely ballpark. I got really lucky with mine at the 85 I found it at. This is going to be the most fucking autistic sentence ever. Jessica, you're going to appreciate this. I found this book. It was on Abe Books. And so like Abe will link you to outside sites.
Mm-hmm.
This was the only Reptile book at this little online bookstore out of Boston that sold antique books on trains and boats.
Wow.
And that was what they specialized in, and like Civil War shit.
Oh,
And then
stop.
it was like this was the only book they had in the animal section of their website, and it was $85.
I love them. So you got it from like a small seller. Is what
Yeah,
you're saying.
a lot of these
Good.
like more niche books, especially as they go out of print, you definitely have to start looking at the more like niche places and the rare bookseller or like the natural history bookstores, because they do get really difficult to track down at a certain point. That's why like when a lot of these Reptile books come out, I will tell everyone, if there's a book you think you want for your collection, just get it when it first comes out or as soon as you can, because if it goes out of print, it's going to quickly become a very expensive book.
Do you think, while we're talking about speculating on future book prices, do you think people feel like Python and boa books are more valuable than other species class books?
Here's the thing, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it depends on the kind or on the content of the book and the kind of community hype over it.
Oh.
Because like when the new Carpet Python book was coming out, which is, you know, is in this list, everyone was super excited because like the complete Carpet Python had come out like a decade, 12 years prior, and they were redoing it. They were adding more to it. So everyone was super hyped out about that book, but it still hasn't sold out. Meanwhile, there are books like when Loafman wrote the Natural History and Captive Care of Xenodontine Snakes, which was the Water Cobra and the Barron's Racer and the South American Hognose book. That book sold out in months. And like they've had to have, I think they've had a second printing of it now. And I think the second printing has even sold out because that book has had like a wave where like it was really expensive and then it went back down and now it's climbing back up again.
So like it was expensive on the secondary market off of Eco Books?
Yep.
Okay.
Because I want to say it was roughly a $60 or $70 book. And then it got really hard to get because it sold out. And then the price went back down because there was a second printing and then that sold out. So now it's climbing back up again. Like I've seen people pay $150 for that book. And it came out 3 years ago.
For like $50 new on Eco's website this time. Is this a third printing?
I think so.
Okay.
I know that because Eco is run by Russ Early, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I want to say that Russ has pretty much like kept he has like a stash of that book at this point.
Okay. Good. But you think this one is for breeders?
Oh yeah.
So they will covet this one more than
Yes, this
Other
book,
books?
if you are a breeder, this is a book you absolutely should have. And this is a book that is very much geared towards a dedicated breeder who wants that hardcore data.
All right.
This is not a book that would really interest a pet keeper.
Mhm.
Okay. The self-defense book.
Is that what it is? Oh,
This is a
it's heavy.
brick. It's a fucking brick, dude. This book is like 600 some odd pages. So to be super honest, I have read the first like third of this book without stopping, and then I really had to take a break from it, and I just paged through it now.
Is it too dense,
It's
intense?
it's
just
very
a lot?
informationally dense.
Okay.
So I mean, if there is a single book, if you are into carpet pythons, this is the book you need. Ignore every other Australian snake book out there because there's a shitload of them. This is the one you need. Luckily, it's still very easy to get a hold of. You can buy it online regularly for 75, 80 bucks. It's still around. This one, I believe, also had a second printing. But it's really, it goes super in depth into ecology, captive care, genetics. It breaks down all the different species. And this book actually kind of put some new information out there. If you've heard of the new like taxonomic lumpings and splittings within carpet pythons, this is the book that really brought that all up.
Was that published somewhere else at the same time as the book was?
I believe this book was the thing that finally published all that info. So this book brought forth some molecular genetic studies that the Papuan and the Darwin carpet pythons are actually genetically identical. They are just different locality forms of the same one because of their placement with the Torres Strait. This is also the book that where there are the jungle carpets and the I forget if it's northern coastals or southern coastals. So there are the carpet pythons that are like true Morelia spilota McDowelli, and then there are the coastal carpets that are in like the majority of the hobby, which are actually genetically the same species as jungle carpets. And they're just like a locality, like it's basically a color phase based on ecology of like where they live. But then there is their own, like there is the actual locality pure McDowelli, which are their own species now. So there was some lumping, but there was also some lumping comboed with splitting, if that makes sense.
Do you think like in the book they explain what's going on?
Yes.
Okay.
They do. They break it down by super nerdy. They break it down by like geographic level, and it goes into things like the last ice age. It goes into kind of like the what's the term? Like glacial minimums and glacial maximums. It talks about how like water and different landforms have like kind of separated these different species. And it also goes into how some of them are a little bit more closely related and maybe should be elevated to full species over subspecies. So it's got a lot of really good info in there that updated the original complete carpet python.
Do you think someone should read both? Or do you think this one covers it?
I think this one. So when Nick Mutton and Justin Julander wrote this book, they took everything from the first book and added on to it. So, and basically made it more relevant and recent to what we know. So if you're going to choose between the two, this is the one you go for 100%.
Okay. Good info, because I think the out of print version is still more expensive than the new one.
I want to say that one is more expensive because it is just a collector item at this point, and it is a very old book. Well, not very old, but it's, you know, it's 10 years old. But I think because that was one of the first like carpet python only books out there, that it has a lot of like sentimental type value
Nostalgia.
to a lot of. Yeah.
You know what I think? The more that I've existed on this planet, I think the reptile hobby has nostalgia cycles. The
Yes,
way, like,
100%.
where people be like, I remember when I was a kid and I had a sunbeam snake. Fuck you, I'm getting one. And so then all of a sudden it becomes a thing. Like that was what was imported when they were a kid, and now they try to breed it or something like that. And that cycle continues. Or like, so like 30 years from now, all the little gremlins that watch Snake Discovery are gonna be like, I remember when I liked Hognose, and there'll be like a insane Hognose revival when they're all 40 and they are having a midlife crisis.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, I would agree with that, and I think that a lot of these books, as like time goes on, I think some of the ones that are a little bit easier to get right now will eventually be very relevant, because I feel like there's just not a ton of interest in people writing these books, and I feel like a lot of these books are being written by like the Trumbauer book. You know, Craig Trumbauer, I think, is in his late 70s, early 80s. That's one of there are 3 Pituophis specific books out there. It was about time someone wrote one, and who better than Craig Trumbauer himself, But unfortunately, we're all humans. None of us are going to be around forever either.
Do you think there are less books now than there were 20 years ago, like produced each year? I'm assuming yes.
Hell
yeah. Okay.
I feel like as far as like herpetological stuff goes, like I feel like there's still good books being put out, but I feel like there's like 3 to 5 a year, where if you just look at some of the books that were available back then, I feel like there were so many more. Like there's an old Krieger book, and it's literally called Breeding Insects for Other Animals. And it talks about like different ways to like gut load and breed different species to have like nutritionally dense, varied live feeder diets for your animals. And like, that's not a book anyone would write nowadays.
But maybe it should be.
I think it should be, because we have all this new info. We have people like Kai Fan who are working with, grasshoppers and different katydids to breed to feed the chameleons and monitors and all the stuff that they have to do for them. But I also think back then we had more people who were so devoted to keeping reptiles alive, because so much was in its infancy, that they just wanted the info out there. Where I feel like nowadays there's a lot more like trying to keep stuff close to your chest so that you can get a leg up on the other guy.
Is that it? Or just people not good at thinking?
I mean, I think people are idiots a lot of the time, but that's just me.
I just feel like if you ask someone who's like a clear expert in X, and you're like, do you want to write a book about that? They're like, no. And you're like, yeah, it is a lot of work. But like, are they so busy like hand to mouthing their business, or they work full time and they keep 1,800 agamas or something? Like, there's just too much going on. No one can write a book, and nobody feels like they can take the time to write a book. So they just do a YouTube video and they move on with their lives. Like, is that the problem? Or
I feel like that's the problem, but I feel like there's also I struggle with it. I mean, there are times that I'm like, I just can't sit down that long to read, a 700-page book.
Did we get brain rot?
I feel like there's that, but then there's also like, I can't even tell you how many times I've been like, oh, I want to learn about like this. Let me find if there's a podcast on it. And then I put in a 3-hour podcast so that I can continue multitasking and doing other things while listening to someone wax eloquent about rock pythons.
Okay. So I do that too, and I feel like it feels like a good efficiency, but I don't think you learn things as good when you listen to it as you do read it. Maybe other people are different, their brains are different. But I understand better when I read.
Yeah, I feel like reading it, you get that like visual mental combo.
Right.
Like you're reading it, you're seeing it in your mind's eye, but at the same time, I feel like when I listen to things on podcasts, if I repeat and like if I have a podcast that I really like that episode, I'll like bookmark it and go back to it. and like re-listen, and I feel like that does help it cement more. But I would
Okay.
agree with you, like a lot of these books being able to just have that like tangible physical info in front of you does seem to help cement it into memory.
Mm-hmm. Everybody should read some books some of the time.
Yep.
All right. What about this one?
Oh, fuck the author. Sorry, did I say that out loud?
Whoa.
Sorry, I have beef with Vin Russo, but you
Okay.
know.
What about the book?
So the book is decent. You
Okay.
have to bear in mind it has Vin Russo's tone of voice all over it.
Does it? I don't own it.
I'm pretty sure there's like, so a lot of this book is, a lot of the books that I have like mentioned, if they have like an author or something like that, well, they all have an author, but a lot of them are very like, oh, this is how the animal lives, or like keepers of this snake will notice. This one is very much like, in my collection, I do this. My line of these boas, when I got these boas. It's very like me, which is a very Vin Russo thing.
Okay.
Do
you think he believes other people if they tell him something that he doesn't perfectly agree with and includes it in the book, or do you think he doesn't include it in the book?
I can see both sides, because in my dealings with Vin Russo, he is very much like, if it's not my animals from my line, it's fake, it's not real. Obviously, like there's lots of, not to talk bad of a man who had his whole facility burned down last year, but like there's been lots of people who are like, I bought my animals from Vin Russo, and then I go back to Vin and he's like, I have no idea who that person is. But then the person has shown me the sales receipt from Vin Russo. So like, you know, there's that whole spiel. And of course, you know, there's all the stuff with like, he really feeds his animals super light to maintain the like small size of his like dwarf and island boas. Like his breeding age females can sit curled up in your hand. But then like other people will buy them from him, feed them slightly heavier than he does, and the snake is like 4.5 feet long. So
do you think when he's writing, he's like, all X subspecies is all supposed to be 3 feet long? Like, is he very like prescriptive about the species in the wild based on his experience with his collection?
I felt that way. Granted, I'll be honest, I did read this book cover to cover like 3 or 4 years ago, so it's been a hot minute. And like there is good info in this book. But he talks very much about like, he does mention Gus Renfro a lot. The one thing that I've noticed with Vin is he really sticks to his collection, Gus Renfro, Eugene Bassett. It's really like
are you saying like he doesn't cover localities that he doesn't have or his friends don't have?
No, he covers all of them, but like you can tell he, with his animals and with his data, I think he primarily went to like himself, Eugene, and who was the other one I just said? Gus, because they were like the big heads in locality boas. And this book does talk a lot about locality boas, and this book very much mentions like the purity of boas, and you know, it does talk about morphs, but how most of them are crosses and da 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 da.
Does he do like I don't know, what are all the morphs of each species?
He doesn't. Cross? I don't believe.
Does he do that ever, or no?
I don't think so. I know that there are sections like when it talks about the like longicatas, he does talk about the aneries, but like he doesn't call them aneries. He just calls them black.
Right, but there is a hyperbell longicata. Is that what he's talking about, or is he talking about aneries and just calling them black?
The picture that he shows looks like an anery. It looks just like.
Does he talk about zeros at all, or no?
He talks about them as quote unquote patternless or striped. I'm not sure if you know the thing about
zeros are trademarked.
No, because the guy who had all the zeros, the German guy, threatens to sue anyone who calls them zeros because he claims that it's his creation, even though it popped up in like 4 different bloodlines.
Yes. Yes is the answer. Do not sue. This is for educational purposes only. I don't know where we are right now. Please. Okay. I never read it. I don't know.
I mean, it's a solid read. I think if you're really into boas, you should read it, because even though there's some like taxonomical stuff of Vin's that I don't fully agree with, like there's a few things that he identifies as like imperator, but like a lot of data is showing that it's either a constrictor or it's its own species. Like some of his taxonomy I don't fully agree with. And you can tell his tone throughout it is very Vin Russo coded.
Mhm.
But there is a lot of really good relevant info. It does go into the purity of like and like origins of a lot of the locality forms of the boas. But
I do think that's interesting. Like if he knows that there were 5 whatevers that came in on a shipment of whatever, and he knows the guy it went to, I do think that should be in a book. So someone could reference that one day, hypothetically.
But on the flip side, he does have a lot of stuff where he's like, like Hog Island boas, where he's like, well, most of them are not actually Hog Island boas, but my line are. And so there's a lot of that kind of thing where you're like, okay, Hog Island boas were mass imported by many people. You do not have the only pure line. Like Bob Sears had a line. There's Lemke had a line. There were multiple different people, and he's very much like, sometimes it comes off like a slight sales pitch for himself.
Is it giving Facebook rant, yelling at clouds, or is it at least a coherent argument?
It's very much coherent, but it is also very like, you can tell at times it comes off like a little bit of an advertisement for his own lines.
Okay. What I want from a boa book, honestly, I love boas. I want like the history of the importations and morphs, what they believe they were crossed with when, like Rich Isle got a Panamanian boa, bred it to Colombians right away. They were mostly Colombian, but they were Panamanian. Boom, just say that. And I want a rigorous and intense citation. Like, I don't want you to be like, Hog Island boas are 3 feet long. I want you to prove it to me that they're 3 feet long.
Yeah.
By finding a peer-reviewed source of wild Hog Island boas that show like what size they are at maturity and like what's the largest one they ever found on the island. I would just like to know that. And some of these hobby books, they don't cite anything particularly.
Yeah. And see, I would love to see, like, no shade on this book, because as far as boa books go, like on the Constrictor complex, this is probably the most comprehensive one out there. I think at times my opinion of it is very flawed from my dealings with Vin Russo, which is why I still have it on here, even though like I kind of like meh at it. But I would love to see Warren Booth do a boa book. I know he's busy as hell and it'll never happen. But because like when like he's talked to you and like I've heard him on other podcasts talking about locality boas, and he does say like, oh, Hog Island boas over 5 feet long have been found on Hog Island, but they were elderly animals that were not doing well in the environment, or there's no mention of that. This book is very much like Hog Island boas should never be more than 3 to 4 feet long. Like anything bigger is a cross.
I think life is full of nuances, unfortunately.
Yes, and Vin is not a very nuanced person.
Yeah, Aurora says she liked it and she read it cover to cover and she'd recommend it if you want to learn more about boas. So that's good too.
Yep. All I'm gonna say is my copy is signed because at my first Tinley, I was really excited to meet Vin Russo, and I took that book to go have him sign it. And then he told me he wouldn't sign my book unless I could correctly answer multiple boa-related trivia questions. And then when I answered like most of them correctly, he was like, well, you didn't get all of them. I'm not going to sign this. And then one of his like buddies behind the table was like, dude, don't be an asshole.
Oh, that's a
Yeah,
lot. That's a lot
yeah.
right now.
I also like showed him one of my like Russo line Terra Humera boas from Steven Richardson. And he was
Mhm.
like, that boa is garbage. If you were smart, you'd sell that boa and buy one of mine. That's why I don't like Finn Russo. So, fun fact,
Uh,
treated me like shit.
aw. Uh, is that like a northeastern man thing? What do you think about that theory?
I mean, he's from frickin' New York. I
That's what
mean,
I'm saying. Like they're
I'm
hard knock
kind of
life or
from
something.
like the Northeast verging on the Midwest. I'm not a total jackass to
No, the
people.
Midwest is pure and gentle. Mm-mm.
We
Y'all
have
are
cheese
different.
curds.
Y'all are different.
We have cheese curds and hot
I
dish.
know. There's some sort of blessing in the water or something. Everyone from the Midwest is really nice and normal.
Oh yeah, don't you know?
I know. There's something about who y'all bred to or something. Being near Canadians, I don't know. But it's if northeastern, different
That's
people,
valid.
full of anger. All right, is Glenn full of anger?
Oh no, I fucking love this book. I know you
Glenn
had Glenn
Glenn
on to talk
Glenn
about
commented
this.
on the title of this program and he liked it. So
I love this book. I've made like yeah, when this book came out, I was super excited. There's not a ton of retic centric books. I think there's two. One came out like shortly before this one did,
mhm.
but
Is this a
IMO,
book for a retic only keeper, or you think someone who doesn't really want to retic ever could get something out of this book because they just like
I
natural history or whatever?
if you really like natural history of like a singular species, yeah, you're gonna love this book.
Okay.
Um, the really nice thing about this book is so like Glenn goes really heavily into um a lot of different topics. So he talks about like the taxonomy and the species range and like locality info, but then he also breaks it down to like the islands that the snakes come from, their culture, the people on those islands. And it's really interesting because it does actually kind of give you this like I feel like a lot of these books make it just like, oh, like this snake is found in the woods, but it actually kind of connects you to the people that also
Mm-hmm.
cohabit with these snakes. It talks a lot about like imports and like captive husbandry. It talks about different morphs. It breaks like the difference in like dwarf versus super dwarf.
Was
Um,
Glenn able to trick any old timers into telling him their secrets? Like,
I
I
I'll
don't
be
know,
real.
in
This is
1999, this guy imported the only three somethings, and that those are the only ones we know of. Was he able to get like secrets from old people?
let me just take a quick peeky peek while I'm here. Um, so I know he got a lot of info from like Garrett Hartle and like Rodney Boelich. I don't know if he got much from I don't know if he got much about God, what's his name? Bob, what's his fuck?
Clark?
Yeah, there you go, that one. I was like the one who always fights with Darian online.
Yeah, I don't. Glenn is a young guy, so I always feel like there's a tension there between like a young person who just wants to codify what the hell's going on, and some of the old people
Mhm.
know stuff, but you have to track them down. They don't answer their phone. They're not on the internet. Who would know that
No,
information? So it must have been hard. So I'm just wondering if he was able to extract some information. Because if you're not there in first person, then you're interviewing people, cross-referencing ancient stories.
mhm.
You know.
Yeah, I don't off the top of my head, I don't really 100% know that. This was one of the ones that I got like a good chunk of the way into and then was like, okay, I need to take a break.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this book is very digestible. Some of the other ones, like the more complete Boa, is very much like I said, it's very Vin Russo coded. The more complete Carpet Python is very like Nick Mutton and Justin Julander coded. It's got a lot of really good info, but sometimes it can be a lot of info. This one's
Mm-hmm.
like a good in between where there's a lot of info, but it's also very digestible. Yeah, I don't believe there's a ton of info just talking about the import people, but there is a lot of talk about like CITES stuff, and it does talk about like some captive history timelines of like
Oh, that's good. That's something I wish all of these books would do.
yeah, like this one it goes into like the first import of Tana Jampea retics from Bushmaster, and the first one's from Kayawadi, and it does have some pictures of like the first Karampa locality female and the first Karampa males, and some other the founders of different morphs. So, and like the different localities they came from. So there's lots of good info like that too.
Yeah, and I found it for $47, which is a weird number. I think it's still in EcoBooks. You can buy it new. It was like a little cheaper.
Yeah, I was going to say that one is not an eco book, oddly enough. That one is by Living Art Publishing, but it's probably sold on eco.
I'm pretty sure I saw it there.
Yeah, I think it is sold on there, but it is not published by them. But that one's a phenomenal book. I really like it. As someone who keeps retics and does keep a super dwarf, I found it very fascinating to read. I've definitely gone back to parts of it when I've had like a question about my husbandry. So definitely, if you have an interest in retics or even just like larger pythons, it's definitely worth picking up. And it's not very expensive for the amount of info it has.
Very good. What about this one?
I love this book. I have not gotten a chance to do more than page through it because this is the most like recent big edition. But yeah, this one is pretty freaking phenomenal. I know Craig Trumbauer spent a lot of time basically canvassing the internet for people to contribute to this book. I won't lie, there's a picture of one of my snakes in this book, so I'm biased. Picture of my vertebralis is in this book. But yeah, this one is phenomenal. There have only ever been 3 Pituophis centric books written. One is on pine snakes, one is specifically on the northern pine snake, and then there's this one.
Oh, that's weird.
Yep. So, I mean, if you are a Pituophis head, this is a phenomenal book. Craig does a really good job. Like I said, I haven't read the full thing cover to cover. I've paged through it quite a bit. His tone is very approachable and very like, it is very easy to understand for someone who maybe doesn't have a ton of background in herpetoculture and doesn't know a crap load of the really intensive lingo. He does a really good job of breaking it down and talking about his experiences and, going species by species and really breaking them down. He does go into some field stuff. He talks about habitat, reproduction, captive care. And he's got a really, really good group of he's got a lot of good field shots of different things. So this is a really good book. Obviously, it's very recent. I think it came out in the last 3 months or so, 3-4 months. It's a phenomenal.
We did it right after Dallas. We did an episode with Jennifer and Kevin.
Yeah.
When was that? I don't know. A couple months ago. I thought it was adequate.
I would say, I mean, as far as this goes, I mean, I know that this is the key. When I said like a lot of these newer books that come out, like they need to get hyped. Okay. This book had so much hype building up to it because like everyone loves Craig Trumbauer. Like honestly, like I met him at Tinley.
He does have a tremendous mustache. You gotta.
He does. It is majestic.
Give props.
He's kind of like Snake Gandalf. God, I hope he doesn't hear that.
I know. What? It's probably like these people are crazy.
Yeah, but like he was at Tinley this March, and like I brought one of his books and like had him sign it there, and he was very, very. He's a very gracious, welcoming guy, and he is very willing to talk to basically anyone that wants to talk to him about reptiles. Like I've talked to him over Facebook a handful of times. Like he's a genuinely really great man who knows a lot of stuff and compiled a lot of info from a lot of people into this book, and it is absolutely phenomenal. Like everyone I know who has read this book has nothing but praise for it.
Except for me.
Oh.
I think it's adequate. I think it's fine. I'm being a bitch. I just was mad about some of the taxonomy stuff that was glossed over because he didn't want to deal with it because it is problematic that there might be 9 species of southern pines that need to be split up as we speak.
Oh, I haven't gotten to that point yet, so I'll be real. Southern pines are the one pine that I no longer keep or work with, so I don't like them. Mine were always assholes, so I forget they exist.
Yeah, and then northern pines probably need to be split up into 2 species. Just as we are right now. The northern and the Kentucky? Yes, because they haven't been kissy for too long. It's been a long time. And I was like, well, they'll shake it out. But I don't think he wanted to go over that. But I think that is insane news. Like when you want to talk about the fact that we might have 9 new Pituophis species in the country coming down the pipes, won't that be exciting? It's new news.
I mean, to be a devil's advocate, I feel like part of the issue with like splitting southerns that much is because they like can't be collected in any of their range anymore, and all the lines have been like crossed. Is it kind of one of those like everything we have kind of like Dion's rats? Like there might be a lot of cryptic species in there, but they're all crossed together at this point.
Yeah, maybe. Did you see that there was a Dion's paper released in February? They did a full genotyping.
I saw it, but I have not read it.
I just passed through gently. And I was like, they don't think any part of it should be even pushed up to subspecies level. And they tested,
really?
Like there's different clades. You can see where they ran off from like a central Chinese sort of ancestor. But there's enough like party times they haven't differentiated enough at all. And I was like, all right.
Interesting.
Get it, kings. Keep doing patty cakes over your giant ass range.
Jeez.
All right, what about this book? We did this one. I think we did this one first.
I think you did this one with Eileen, right? So we can kind of gloss over this one because I'll be real. This is one that I've paged through. Haven't really read a ton of it.
I like this one a lot. I think it's dope.
I wanted to give it like the honorable mention because like I feel like boas in particular have such a small amount of books just dedicated to them compared to other groups. So like I wanted to throw this one in there because I think it's a very well written book. When I have referred to it, I found the info very good.
I feel like I forgot that this is an audio podcast also, and I don't think we've read any title out loud. We're talking about the boas of the West Indies. Sorry, audio people, for the last 8 books we haven't actually mentioned. You're gonna have to use context clues. But anyway, keep going.
Sorry, y'all. Yeah, I really liked this one, especially because I fairly recently, like within the last year, got my first Chilobothris. But yeah, I really liked the info in here. I do feel like this book is a little informationally dense. Like it doesn't look like it because it's a pretty small book. Like it's pretty thin. But when you go into it, it's very informationally dense. I don't know.
I know, but I think that's what I like.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be blasted in the face with facts. Only. Just facts.
Just facts. Gotcha.
Just sorry. I don't know. Once you go okay, I gotta stop. I'm just saying, like, it was good. I like it. It isn't a hobby book. It's a sciencey book. It's not for babies. It's for adults. And if you need to take it a chapter at a time, I think that's fine. But I think different kinds of people look at it differently is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about this was that I got it thinking it was going to be much lighter than it was.
Mm-mm.
And then I got it, was like, wow, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'll read it later. And then I kind of just used it as casual reference material, but never actually like made myself sit down and read it.
Yeah, I don't even, it has like a species spotlight for each species, but it's never super like, I don't know. It doesn't like exhaustively go over every part of everything possible. Like this is when they breed and blah blah blah. Because it's not for that. Like
Yeah.
just
I
like
feel like it's more of a natural history type book.
yes. What about this one?
Okay, so if you like Asian rat snakes and you don't want to buy the Klaus book, you should buy this book because it's readily available and cheap as shit.
Oh, we're supposed to talk about the Asian rat snakes and kin of Greater China by Dr. Messenger Kevy.
Correct. Yep.
I like this one
one
because it's paperback, so it's cheap, and it's got lots of cool pictures with cool maps.
Yeah. I think the best part of it is I like the maps and I like the individual species account.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that to me at times, it reads almost a little bit like a field guide.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree with that?
All right, I have a question. Is the snake on the cover a Korean rat snake or a Russian rat snake?
I'd say Korean. Or what is the technical term? Is that are they calling them Manchurian? Or no, that's what Russians are. But yeah, I mean, I'd call that just appearance-wise, that's a Korean.
I know, but we got to enhance here. Listen, I've had people be like, the ones that are dark like this aren't pure. And then we had a big argument on Facebook that they're hybrids in captivity. And I'm like, this looks like it's sitting in China somewhere. Isn't that
literally
what a
has
Korean
the Great Wall of China in the background?
I know. Enhance. Like, is this a Korean or is it a Korean shrinky eye hybrid? And then the stupid mitochondrial DNA of the Koreans in the Korean Peninsula is supposedly shrinky eye, but I don't think it is. I just think it's like past hybridation event. I read the paper. I'm really mad about it. And I don't know if my Koreans are pure or not. And now I'm still mad. So let's talk about this book. I did pair them together. They are the meanest sons of bitches I've ever met.
You're Koreans?
They fly out of a cage like a fucking racer. Russians don't do that. I've never.
My Russian does.
Out, mine don't. They're just like la la la. We're having fun. Oh God. Anyway.
I got this Russian, and people were always like, "Oh my God, Russians are so tame. They're the nicest snake ever." Mine is like a feral king snake.
I guess they're on a spectrum of mannerisms, but I was just like, every time you get it out, it's hooking into the rack, going underneath the next tub, going over here. If it's in a cage, flopping, and you get it out of the cage. So I almost have to take it out with a hook, bin it, close it up, clean. It's just a lot. There's a lot going on with the Koreans.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think this book is great. I think it's almost like a better intro book for Asian rat snakes.
I would agree. I like that it breaks down more of a like species account by species account, where the Dieter Schultz book, even though I think it has a lot of really good info, I think sometimes it is almost a little bit too, I don't want to say too dense. It's a little bit too like, oh, so you're, to quote you or use a term you would use, like, oh, you're really autistic about Asian rats and you want to fucking know what a cave racer does with its life during a field study. Like, this is, sorry, that
right.
Just to make it your kind of thing.
We're all autistic deep down inside.
Listen, we're talking about what are the top reptile books here. Of course, we're all a little neurospicy here, myself included. So,
yeah.
But like, I feel like this one is much more digestible.
Yeah, but it's still not stupid. Like, I don't ever feel stupid reading it.
No, I feel like
that means something.
Yeah, I feel like it has a lot of really it has a lot of really a lot of really solid info to it. Sorry, I'm starting to get brain dead.
Yeah. That's okay. We're all
But
brain dead. I would love a book like Kevin's book stands alone as its own sort of thing, but there's
yeah,
like a hobby version of Asian rat snakes that sort of smushes together what you're describing about the other paper, but maybe simplified a little bit. And this one, nice pictures, paperback. It's like a hobby, because this isn't very hobby breeding focused to me. Would you
I feel
agree
like
with
this
that?
one is very like natural history, give you a rundown of the snake, like have a nice day kind of vibe.
Yes. And that's fine. We like that too. But I think there's room for another book that's like, hey, big dog, these are all the weird ass Chinese beauty snakes that have come out of the farms before they get eaten. And this is how you breed them and blah, blah, blah. There's the combos, what the combos look like.
100%.
All the Carnita colors. There's just a lot. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I don't even know. There's room for that for sure, too, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about this book? I have 20 up here, but I bought mine for $7 on eBay.
I was going to say, I got mine dirt fucking cheap off of thrift books.
Yeah.
This is one of the books.
This one with Wilson at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just put this one on here as an honorable mention because if there is like one book, like especially if you are like, if you had a kid who really wanted to get into snakes, I think this would be a really good book for like someone getting into the hobby.
What age kid? 15?
Like, I would say like 10 to 15. Yeah. Like, I mean, granted, like there's no like 6, 7 or Fortnite bullshit in here. So like, I think we're going to lose the newer generation, but like,
no, there's not. No.
But I think it's a really solid book. I am a solid Devogele fan. Like a lot of his stuff, I think he's a really good person for like trying to do like enrichment and providing like species appropriate proper care, but also like not being over the top or like overbearing about like, oh my God, your snake needs a 6-foot enclosure with a water feature. Like, I feel like he's very realistic about like what he feels an animal needs. And I have a lot of respect for how he presents info and seems to be just very level-headed about his methods.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's actually a fine book. Like if you can get enough of them like used at a good price to like give away with a snake purchase almost. Like it's very approachable. It's very practical, keeping. There's a little bit of philosophy of how you keep or whatever, and it's fine. It's good.
Yeah, I think it's a really good book, and it's one of those books where that's kind of why I put it in here is like there's this one, and then when I have The Keeper and The Kept coming up here, like they're just really good philosophy books that I think really give you like a little bit of thought about like not just like the individual species, but just like I don't want to quite say like the ethics, but like why are we keeping this? Like what duty do we as the keeper have to this animal?
I feel like that could be really a whole even more complicated book. Like you could actually like write an ethics thesis. Somebody's PhD could be on like the stages of morally parsing out keeping an animal for pleasure.
100%.
And this is more the same. The snakes and The Keeper and the Kept.
So this is one I'm actively reading this right now. I just got it I guess probably closer to a month and a half ago, and I've just been busy. So 155 is
that's what I saw one at. Is that expensive?
I paid 28 for mine.
28.
Yeah. I paid 28. Mine is, I mean, it's yellow. So that's the thing. This book is, I mean, this one, it's got that lovely old book smell.
Oh, yeah.
I love that old book smell. Sorry, just had to sniff
it. You can huff it if you want. It's okay. I understand.
Like, so this exact book that I have is a 1969 edition, which I believe is the first or the second edition. So it is, I don't want to say it is an ethics book because it's not, but there is mention of ethics, and it talks about Caulfield and his, I'm trying to find a good way to put it. He talks a lot about how to keep snakes, his experiences keeping snakes, field herping, how that ties into captive care and husbandry. And thus far, it's been really good because it's kind of like it reads almost like an autobiography. And it's got a lot of really good info on or a lot of thoughts on how to keep stuff, and kind of draws you into the whole, we keep snakes in boxes, but there's a field herping aspect to it. And he really does touch on that pretty well. Like I said, I'm not super far into it, but what I've read so far, I'm like, yeah, this is really good. And it makes me think a lot.
Did you read Stolen World?
I have it. I haven't read it yet.
Right,
won't lie. I have
it's mentioned in it occasionally.
Yes. I have Stolen World, Dragon Traders, and God, there's another one. Lizard King. I have all three of them, but I focused most of my reading more on the natural history stuff for a while. So I do have those, but I have not. I lied. I think I'm 50 pages into Dragon Traders.
It's pretty depressing.
It is. Yeah.
To me, other people are like, "Oh, it's interesting." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's still depressing." So
I think it's both. Have you read the Dragon Traders?
No, I just read Stolen World, and I was depressed the whole time. So that's pretty normal for me. So
yeah, Dragon Traders has a whole part on one page where they're talking about how when they couldn't get snakes to eat back in the 1800s and early 1900s with traveling circuses, they would force feed them with a mixture of ground meat and milk.
Great.
And tube them down the throat.
Okay, that's great.
Gnarly fucking stuff.
Yeah, that part is interesting. I don't know, keeping in Victorian England,
Yeah,
it's sad. Also, whatever. We had to go through it, I guess. So, would you recommend somebody new since you haven't read it yet, or do you think this is more of a little grail item for a super nerd?
So, I think it's both.
Okay.
I feel like if this were a book that someone were really really passionate about snakes, when I posted on Facebook that I got this book, a lot of people were like, this book will change everything about how you keep animals. And so
really?
that's what I've been told. I'm not crazy far into it. I think I'm 30 pages in, 30, 40. And I kind of had to just set it down because I've got life shit going on. And I'm just way too busy. But this is the one that is next on my list to just read all the way through and really take it in, because so many people have raved about this book. I feel like because it is such an antique at this point, I feel like it is better served in the collection of someone who can really appreciate it and take it in. That being said, I feel like just based on what I have been told and what I've read so far, if someone who were passionate about snakes really wanted to read it, I think they would absolutely take in a lot from it.
Okay. Sounds good. You know what I want in a book? I've been looking for it. I can't really find it, but they probably exist. Is there are certain natural history books that are written more narratively. They're here's a chapter of a bird who's trying to get a mate, but it's written like a narrative. There's prose and language that's evocative of where they live, and it's just following a little bird around as he does a sweet little dance, and the Michael Jackson movie comes on, the other bird sees him, whatever. It's a whole story, but it's all factually correct, but it's
I feel like you want a scientifically accurate fan fiction.
Yes, but with snakes in it. But I've read these for other natural history categories. There's a book called Winter Ecology. There's they're little mass market trademark paperback trade books that you can read, and they're very nice. They're just oh, I want to learn about this little fucking bird. What's he doing? But you could do that, write these narratives about snakes and then performing their biological function in a natural way. And you're trying to inform the person through this narrative what they're doing, and it's more like evocative, I think, sometimes. And I keep looking for something like that for reptiles. My God, where is it? It doesn't exist. Maybe I'll write it. I'll write my own fan fiction.
There you go.
The
Loaf Manual.
I found it for $50.
So there were a couple different printings. As I recall, the hardcover edition was only available in the first printing.
Now it's paperback printing.
Correct.
Only. Okay.
Yeah. And like I have one of the signed hardcovers, which was limited to 100. So just because I'm a fucking nerd.
What a nerd. Is this for somebody who wants to breed these, or is it natural history enough that it's interesting just from a snake perspective?
I think it's good for both. I would say if you want to breed, it's really good. But if you are just here as like a keeper wanting to learn more natural history, it's really good. Or like it's excellent in that aspect. So kind of like the Trumbauer book, this book is very, I don't know, do you listen? You've been on CCR. You can definitely hear Loafman's tone come through really clearly in this book. And the way he wrote it to not be like, it's very scientific and it's very like to the point and matter of fact, but it's not so
formal.
It's not so, yes, it's not overly formal, which I have found in a lot of these books. I really appreciate a less formal tone because I feel like it draws you in a little bit more and you feel like you're having more of like a lecture from a teacher versus like reading a rigid scientific paper.
Right. So you feel Loafman-isms in the prose is what you're saying. Like there's a little more casualness to the tone, even if it is still scientifically rigorous.
Yes, it's very well written. But at the same time, it's also very palatable. It's very digestible. And a lot of the info is given in a very, what's the word I'm looking for? The info is presented in a very like meaningful, matter-of-fact way.
Okay. How many species does he cover?
Oh shit.
A lot? Like the whole clade? There's a lot of genera on the title here.
So we've got philodryanids, xenodontines, hydrodynastes, pseudoboa, erythrolampris, and lygophis, and former members of Lyophis.
So he saved the heterodons for the upcoming book. All heterodons?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
So this one,
Barrett's Wheel says, I would read the fuck out of a scientifically accurate snake romance fan fiction. Okay, great.
Thanks, babe. Sorry, that's my girlfriend.
See, she's into it. It could be great. Sorry,
you're good.
But totally accurate, though. No made up stuff. But okay, this is the inspiration. Did you ever read a book called Raptor Red?
I've heard of it.
I've heard of it. I'm drawn. Before, but it's beautiful. It's like a story of a female raptor trying to find a mate. And she goes through different, like, correct for her time where the Utah raptor would be alive and interacts with different animals. But they're all like hypothetical ways she could interact with those animals that it's based on like what could be happening. It's fanfic. It's dinosaur fan fiction, but it's all real. And she finds one mate and he has parasites, and then she feels deceived and she gets mad at him, and she doesn't. They were like trying to pair bond. Fuck him, nasty. She goes and finds another mate. He's way better. There's drama to it. There's reoccurring characters.
This sounds like one of those. What is it? The Isle or whatever. That's one of those like online dinosaur.
Right, where you can play like realistically. It's like that. So it's a novel about a dinosaur, but it's all hypothetical, realistic behaviors of the animal. It's so good. Classic. Sorry. All right, let's go back to this.
No,
Everybody
you're good.
check it out. Raptor Red. It's an old book.
Ooh, I was gonna say I just saw Lisa in the chat saying that she just ordered the new Boas of the World book. And I literally just found out that book existed last night, and I'm probably going to be ordering it in the like couple of weeks myself.
Is it new?
It's like brand new. Yeah, it's like I think when I looked it up on Amazon, it's got an emerald tree bow on the cover. It's like $90, but I think it's like 600 pages or some shit.
What? This is breaking news?
Yeah, I didn't know this book existed until like last night, literally.
The title has not been released yet. What?
I think it literally has just come out in the last week or two.
Graham is who did the Caribbean boa. Same guy. It's probably fire.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
When does it come out? August 17th.
Oh, there you go.
Fire. Pre-ordered it. Locked it in. Good job. Maybe we'll do that one, I don't know, in September or something. Give people time to read it.
There you go.
But this one's good too. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, this one's really good. It is a little bit more niche. So if you're not into, the pseudoboas and the, false water cobras and Baron's racers and xenodons, I like the book because I have kept false water cobras and I have Baron's racers and I do have interest in xenodon as well. But this book is something, it's a little bit more specialized than like a book about boas, a book about carpet pythons.
How much like captive caravan was he able to find for like the weirder ones?
I think some of them, there's not really a ton. Okay. You can tell that it's definitely because there is more info on, some of the, what is it, like the Hydrodynasties and Philadrius. There's a little bit more on those and on some of the, the tricolor hogs and the Dorbignii. But there's definitely some of the, the Erythrolamprus, because I know like Glenn Brooks works with those. There's a few other people in, I think it's like Europe working with those. So there's definitely some coverage of it, but there's definitely.
You're talking about swamp snakes?
Yeah, velvet swamp snakes. Yeah.
That's what genus did you just say?
That's Erythrolamprus typhus.
Those are rear fang venomous too? Motherfucker. God, it's such a pain in the dick. Yeah, I'm not trying to be mean, but like more and more localities are like no rear fang venomous anything. And I think they're getting more and more clued into it, that they're not medically significant, but they're still banning it, like Colorado. Isn't that weird?
Yep. I mean, to be fair,
me out.
You never know you're allergic to a foreign protein till you're in it.
No, but I want a little swampy snake. Okay.
Do you though?
It just looks fat and little at the same time. Hear me out.
I mean, you already have Japanese rats. They're already a green snake.
I know, but I want them fat and little. Think about it.
Get a greenhouse snake and make it super fucking fat.
I don't want to change. There's just something about this like Nerodia body glued onto like, I don't know, like a Natrix size, but it's green.
I get that.
What? I don't know. I'm they're very Dione-like, but they come in green, need blue, weird colors.
You do have a type, Jessica.
I do. Sorry. Did we do it?
I think we did it.
I think we did it.
Yay.
Did we learn anything though? I think we did.
Maybe.
I think we did.
Books are good. Buy more of them. And just like casual shout out, if I may, the whole like complete series, like that entire, like the complete North American box turtle, complete knobtail, complete children's python, like if you have an interest in any of those species, buy those species specific books. Like the more
You mean like
complete
the little square ones that are okay?
Yeah, like the ones that Eco puts out, like the more complete ball python, the complete children's python, like they're all really good, well-written books. I just didn't include them in this because a lot of them are focused on like one or two species, where a lot of what I picked today tended to be more like, hey, if you want a good chunk of info on like this group of animals, this is what you should go for. You know what I mean?
Sorry. I'm just sighing because sometimes I'm like, God, I think what it takes is like getting the price cheap enough by making it paperback, maybe not as cool bindings, maybe less color pages or something, that you can sell it to people at shows for like
Yep.
$15, $20. So that means like when they manufacture it, wherever they print it, there could be like a one for casual people who don't want to overcommit, and it's maybe it's even shorter slightly, like less total pictures, so the print cost doesn't have to be as high. Because I think I really do want somebody to get a children's python and then buy a children's python book at the same time. That would be dope. But I'm like, it's $50, and I know it's worth it because it's nice. But then, how do you get people to not balk at the price too?
So like, do you know what I'm talking about when I mention like the old TFH reptile books? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Do they the one?
Hold on. I'll grab one. I'll show you real quick. I'm like close to my bookshelf.
Are you grab it? I should probably be talking.
No, you're good. I'm walking back right now. So like
the one Don did, Soderbergh, for Corn Snakes, like that series.
I don't know if Don did them, but like they all look like this, right?
Okay, different ones.
Yeah. But then they're only like this thick, right?
Right,
so like
that's
this
good,
one,
I think, for fresh
so
people.
these are what I'm talking about. Like these are old, but like rattlesnakes, Karen captivity, blue-tongued skinks, and pink-tongued skinks. And they're all like 60 pages long. And like this one is specifically on rosy and ground boas. Like this book solely focuses on rosy boas, sand boas, Solomon Island ground boas, and rubber boas.
Well, like these ones. Let me show you. The Eco, I guess, still publishes.
Oh yeah, like those.
I guess $8 isn't that bad.
No,
now
and
I'm
like
looking at it, but like I want the wholesale price for this, and I will sell it to somebody at cost or whatever. Because like,
yeah,
maybe they should
those are
just a little book to start.
Like there's a lot of those that are really good, but like these old ass TFH ones, like this one is literally just on prehensile tailed skinks.
Like, you think these ones are too generic because they're all king snakes or all?
I don't think so. I don't think it's bad when it's like, because if you follow, like, if you're just getting into it as a keeper, I feel like there's nothing crazy like different about most king snakes.
No,
you know what I mean?
I think a lot of times, a lot of North American colubrids, not all of them, but a lot of them, you can almost like close your eyes. Like effectively, their care is very similar.
Yeah. And like these ones, when I was saying earlier that there's like books about literally just like butterfly agamas, it's this series, and you can find these books
are those
pre-owned.
Okay, are they in print now?
No, these are all like 1990s.
Oh,
ancient. But they oddly enough have like a lot of decent info in them still. So like when I see new ones and they're like, you can buy them pre-owned for like usually $5 to $10, I pick them up.
Do you think? Have you been to the show yet?
A couple of times. I don't produce a ton, and I just sell my stuff just on my own.
One of these days, you're going to need to be the show with a lot of something. And I need you to bring books and try to see if you can get people to buy them. either because they just bought that species and they want the book, and maybe even like flipped used books, you know, like they're in good condition or whatever. You found them at a good price, and that's the book they need, and it's a book you already pre-approved and like, and you just found it. I just want to know if like people will like tolerate to buy a used book when they're like a new person, you know, or they're like, I'll just Google it. Is that the answer?
I feel like that's the issue, is like so many, especially like the newer, younger keepers. I feel like they do just want the like, go to YouTube and find a care guide, or like go to Reptiles and just have it all laid out in front of them. They don't want to read the 60-page book. They just want the answer, which is, it's really sad because like, I remember as a kid, I got this like, God, who was it? Like Bartlett and Bartlett, this god awful book that literally talked about like putting the no pest strip, like taping it to the inside of the rim of the tank to prevent snake bite.
Yeah.
Like, I remember reading those like terrifying ass pet store guides and like getting like Reptiles magazine and like learning little tricks from it and picking up shit like here and there. Like, people don't do that like they used to. Not to sound all like old, like, oh, the kids these days, but
we got a chopped unk alert. I'm kidding. Yeah, I don't know. The only way to like keep something going is to try, I think. Lisa's buying books in French that she can't read French.
Better do that Duolingo, Lisa.
Yeah. I guess she saw the velvety swamp snake and it looked like a toy. Good. Le Python Vert. I feel like did you post about that? Yeah, I don't know. You should try it though. I would be curious if people would casually pick up a used book because they just want to, if they were new, or if it's too weird for them.
I feel like they probably won't, especially like there's so many people that are like, oh, this is from like the early 2000s. It's so out of date. Or like if a book mentioned anything other than like a 4x2 for housing a baby ball python, they would just instantly shut it down.
Do you pay attention to crested gecko people ever?
Crested gecko people?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Okay.
I remember when the minimum cage for a crested gecko was 12 by 12 by 18. And now it's like 1836.
Right.
Like bare minimum.
Robbie just did a video where he was like, I don't know, he's a crested gecko breeder, Robbie's Reptiles. And he just was doing his hot takes. And he was like, he stopped selling to people at shows who say that they will only put it in that. And there's like an argument there. And he's like, you're not going to be able to find it. And I understand there's like a process there where someone could build up the little guy's confidence over time or whatever, coming from his situation to theirs. All that's true. But it was just interesting. He brought that up on the crested gecko side. He's already having arguments with people about it.
I mean, honestly, I agree, though. I mean, how many breeders are actually putting their snakes or geckos in like Reptiles is now pushing for 6-foot enclosures for bearded dragons, ball pythons, blue-tongued skinks. Like, you know, there does come a point where I'm like, okay, you are almost at the point of being like, what is an appropriate size enclosure for a corn snake anymore? Like, is it even, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Or like, it is very interesting that it's like bleeding in everywhere all at once.
Yeah.
It's not just like, I don't know. I think transition cages are great. There's a lot of like talk, like, why would I want to buy 2 cages? Fuck you. And that was all coming out. And I'm like, it's okay.
That's a whole thing where they're like, why would I buy grow out cages and spend all that money if I could just buy the adult size cage and not have to do it?
They think we're trying to trick them, scam them into buying extra cages, not from us, but from when we give them that advice. It's like a manipulative ploy. And it's very strange. Everyone who watched that video from Robbie, I thought it was interesting hearing him talk about it specifically. Because it's like the same problem, just like from the other side.
Yeah, I saw something carrying on with that real quick. I saw something on Facebook today that said that crested geckos, or it was improper to house a crested gecko in anything that had less than 80% total coverage of the cage.
With
Like,
plants?
yeah, with plants and,
Okay.
as they like to call it, clutter.
Okay.
There's not enough clutter in your bearded dragon cage. Jesus Christ. It makes me want to frickin' drink. Sorry. Hot take.
I don't go to Facebook if I can help it. What about that?
I keep getting like reptile groups suggested for me, and every so often I have to read the hot takes because I'm like, wow. Wow, it's
I
your
saw
first
like
day on the earth,
a
little guy.
really bad one on boas and boas only, and I like muted the group forever, even though I think the group is normally fine. But it was like anybody that sells you an intro cage is like a clown or something like that. And I was like, fuck, dude, I guess I'm a clown. Because I literally believe from the bottom of my heart that it's better to quarantine your snake in a smaller cage, and then you can test its tolerance for whatever you're going to do next slowly after quarantine. Like I believe that should be happen. And he was so assertive about his position, and I'm like, I gotta go, and I ran away.
Yep. Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%.
I didn't comment or argue, but I'm like, motherfuckers never quarantined anything in his life. It turns out, I guess. So I guess everybody's got mites. I don't like. That's my assumption based on a response like that.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now I'm depressed again. I was doing good for we're just talking about books. All right, everybody should read a book.
Go read a book, touch some grass, and don't dog ear pages on your reference books. How about that?
Is that a pet peeve?
I mean, I'll dog ear the shit out of like a cheap fiction book I bought from Barnes and Noble, but I'm not dog earing a page on a $200 book.
Does seem crazy. I'm into bookmarks. I used to have like dope ass dragon bookmarks from. Remember when retail still existed? What was the bookstore?
Borders.
The smaller one. It got bought by. I feel old. I think it got bought by Barnes and Noble.
I think that was Borders.
What? Well, Borders was always bigger, but it was also bought by Barnes and Noble.
Maybe.
Chain out of business. You know me. It's just crazy, like the retail apocalypse. In general, I keep thinking about that a lot. Like, what's going to be left? Oh, Walden Books. That's what I was thinking of.
Okay. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. They're dead. They're gone.
R.I.P.
Yeah. I think at first they were merged with Borders, and then they were liquidated or something like that.
Okay.
RIP King. But I had like really cool dragon ones with like beautiful tassel, and like, I don't know, maybe we should bring that back, like aesthetic bookmarks. Right now,
Make an Etsy
pieces of
aesthetic
paper.
reptile bookmark.
Yeah, come on, let's go. That's what I want. All right, let's say goodbye. Goodbye.
Right,
Everybody send me your aesthetic bookmarks. I will rate them 1 through 10. Make sure they have